under a private, and the first, like I told you, I was worried about getting busted. That to me bothered me. I says, what are they gonna say back home? I was in combat and I got busted from corporal to private. So that affected me more than anything else, and it gave me a gung-ho. I didn't care. And I think that was, I don't know whether you call it an incentive or what, but I did some things that normally, you know, you'd say that you're not using your head.
Right.
And of course, that's how I advanced.
Yes.
And
kind of a moment of maturity.
Yeah, well, maturity, and it was an ego. It was an ego.
When did you get out of the service then? In 1945?
Yes, right after the war, we got a furlough. And then our outfit went to Camp Swift, Texas. And I remained there as first sergeant till November of '45. So we were there. The war ended in May. We didn't get back. We were hustled back to the States because the war in the Pacific was still going on. And I think this is being the first sergeant while we're at the campgrounds waiting to go over, to go back to this country, to get to the States. I got orders to get the men to go to Paris, and 10, 15 at a time. So, of course, I wanted to get to Paris, but the couple of sergeants came over and they said, Sergeant, we'll wait. We'll get all the information from the fellas coming back from Paris, and they'll save us some time. They'll tell us where to go and so forth. And so I did that. There was about 4 or 5 sergeants that we were going to go together to Paris. Orders came down, all furloughs stopped. We got to get on the boat and back to the States because of the Pacific. So I never got to see Paris. That was for being greedy.
Yeah.
That was an incident that I tell because I think that's funny. That
Were you actually billeted to go to the Pacific?
Oh yes, the 2nd Infantry was yeah.
And did you go?
Oh no, the war ended.
Okay.
While we're in furlough, the war ended.
Okay.
Yeah, August the 7th, 8th, and as a result, we didn't go.
Yeah.
That's how we ended up in Camp Swift, Texas.
What are your memories about the war ending? I assume it had to be the atomic bomb being dropped on Japan.
Oh yes, yes.
What are your own thoughts and comments on that?
Well, of course, I thought that was terrific because it took a lot of guts for Truman to do that, and I didn't have to go to the Pacific, to be honest with you. It was being selfish. I had seen enough of war, and it saved, I think it saved a lot of lives because we'd have had to really fight our way into Japan, and those fellows weren't going to give up easy.
Yeah.
So I thought it was the right thing to do.
Jim, after the service, I think you mentioned that you had gone on to, you went to college?
Well, I had finished my freshman year at Springfield College, and on a Friday, on a Monday, I was inducted into the service. I was drafted.
Okay.
So I was able to finish my freshman year.
What does that? What does drafted mean?
Well, your name is picked out of a, you know, this is how the draft, and that's the way that I went into the service. A lot of people, you know, enlisted, I was drafted. I'm not ashamed to say I was drafted because I wanted to finish my freshman year in college.
Well, millions of Americans were drafted and did well, that's for sure. Probably the backbone of the armed services. What did you do, what did you take up in college? By the way,
Well,
did you utilize the GI Bill?
Oh, definitely,
Okay.
definitely. Now, going to school my freshman year, I had a scholarship. I think tuition was $400 then. That's 1942. And yes, now that was I borrowed $200 from my sister, and the scholarship was $200. And while I'm there at the school, I had a job on Fridays and Saturdays working for the Tom McCann shoe store. I took care of the billet at the college that we worked there, about 8 of us living there. I took care of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I rolled the tennis courts. And that's how I got through my freshman year. And of course, after the war, when we got this GI Bill, they paid tuition, they paid books, and we got $75 a month while we were in heaven. And so anytime anybody complained, I says, hey, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. Yeah. Where did you go to school?
Springfield College, Springfield, Mass.
And what was your major?
Well, it was a major now. It was physical education
Okay.
and teacher coach. And like I said, I had 10 weeks of practice teaching, and that was it. And then I went into sales.
Okay. I know your wife, you call her Kitty. When did you meet
Kitty.
her? When did you marry?
Oh, I met her. Well, I left sporting goods, and I went into LG Belfour Company, which is college rings, high school rings, yearbooks, caps and gowns.
I remember that.
And she was the daughter of the fellow that I worked for at that. And then when I left them, my company commander in the Army was looking for somebody and hired me. And this was with Schulten, Old Spice,
Oh, yes.
cosmetics, toiletries.
I remember it well.
Yeah, and I went out to Denver, opened up the territory for Schulten,
Right.
which later became part of American Cyanamid, which became part of Wyatt, which became part of Pfizer. You know, my pension check comes in from Pfizer. That's how long the chain goes.
Any comments that you'd like to make to this younger generation relative to military service?
Well, like now, the present situation with Afghanistan and Iraq and whatnot, those fellows really have it tough. They don't know who the enemy is. The enemy can be right in back of them. And the gear, I watch them now, with what they're carrying. I mean, well, during the fighting there with the snow in January, February, we had overcoats. We'd throw the overcoats away. It was too heavy for us to carry and run. And here these fellows with all this equipment, I don't know how they do it.
And the heat?
And the heat. It's really, I take my hat off.
Yeah.
And really, they are going through tremendous times. So, of course, I think we have no business. I shouldn't be talking politics, but we have no business there. Losing our boys, in Korea and Vietnam, now this for nothing, for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't recommend our guys enlist in this type of war.
Right.
You know, in our war, we had to. Japan and in Germany, you know, we were protecting ourselves. Here, we have no business over there.
Mhm. Any final comments?
Well, it was quite an experience, and many times I think about it. Certain situation comes, like when I first got into Belgium there as a replacement. There was these rockets coming in, and what happened, the first thing I saw was this truck, dead soldiers like logs of wood being, and that had me, you know, just coming in like this, that scared me. And that was my first impression of the wars. Americans, because the Germans did a job on the initial battle with the Bulls, you know.
Yeah.
They caught them off guard, and they took a. But yet, we lost more men chasing the Germans after the initial battle, which was considered part of the Battle of the Bulge. But those are memories, and I'm still vertical.
Well, Jim, as one veteran to another, all I can say is thank you for your service.
Well,